The United States and China have a complex relationship. They are the world's two largest economies. They are also strategic rivals, which creates tension. Both countries cooperate on some issues but compete on others. This makes their relationship difficult to navigate. The US and China have different political systems and values. The US is a democracy that values individual freedom and human rights. China, on the other hand, is an authoritarian state that prioritizes national unity and stability. These differences sometimes lead to disagreements. The relationship has become more strained in recent years, and there are several reasons for this. These include trade disputes, cybersecurity concerns, and China's growing military power. The future of the US-China relationship is uncertain. It is important for both countries to manage their differences and avoid conflict. Taiwan and the South China Sea are major flashpoints in the US-China relationship. The status of Taiwan is a particularly sensitive issue. China claims Taiwan as part of its territory. The US has a policy of strategic ambiguity towards Taiwan, meaning it does not explicitly state whether it would defend Taiwan if China attacked. The South China Sea is another area of contention. China claims almost the entire South China Sea as its own, but this claim is disputed by other countries in the region, including the Philippines, Vietnam, and Malaysia. The U.S. conducts freedom of navigation operations in the South China Sea to challenge China's claims. These territorial disputes increase the risk of military confrontation between the U.S. and China. Any escalation could have serious consequences for regional and global security. The United States and China are locked in intense economic competition. They are the world's two largest economies and compete for markets, resources, and technological dominance. This competition sometimes leads to trade disputes. The U.S. has imposed tariffs on billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods, and China has retaliated with tariffs of its own. This trade war has hurt both economies. Despite the competition, the U.S. and China are also economically interdependent. They trade extensively with each other. American companies have invested heavily in China, and Chinese companies are also investing more in the U.S. This interdependence creates both opportunities and challenges. It makes it difficult for the two countries to decouple their economies, which could limit their ability to engage in economic warfare. Military muscles assessing the capabilities. Both the United States and China possess formidable military capabilities. The United States has long been the world's dominant military power. It has a global network of military bases and allies. China's military is rapidly modernizing. It is investing heavily in advanced weapon systems. The United States Navy is still the most powerful in the world, but China's Navy is catching up. China is building more warships. It is also developing new capabilities. These include anti-ship missiles and hypersonic weapons. In a hypothetical conflict, the United States would likely have the advantage in air power and long-range strike capabilities. However, China would have the advantage of fighting closer to home. It would also have access to a vast array of conventional missiles. The risks of miscalculation and the prospect of war. The risk of war between the United States and China is low but not insignificant. There are several factors that could lead to conflict. These include miscalculation. A misunderstanding or misinterpretation of intentions could escalate into a larger conflict. Accidents. A military exercise or patrol could lead to an unintended clash. Taiwan. China has not ruled out the use of force to reunify Taiwan with the mainland. If China were to attack Taiwan, the United States would face immense pressure to intervene. The consequences of a war between the United States and China would be catastrophic. It would result in massive loss of life and economic devastation. It could also lead to a wider global conflict. The path of diplomacy. Averting conflict. Diplomacy is essential to prevent war between the United States and China. Both countries need to engage in dialogue and cooperation. They need to find ways to manage their differences peacefully. There are several areas where the United States and China can cooperate. These include climate change. Both countries are major emitters of greenhouse gases. They need to work together to address this global challenge. Pandemics. The COVID-19 pandemic has shown the importance of international cooperation in responding to global health crises. Nuclear non-proliferation. The United States and China have a shared interest in preventing the spread of nuclear weapons. By working together on these and other issues, the United States and China can build trust and reduce the risk of conflict. A shared responsibility. The role of citizens in preserving peace. Global citizens have a responsibility to advocate for peace. They can do this by staying informed. Citizens should educate themselves about the United States-China relationship and the risks of conflict. Supporting diplomacy. Citizens should urge their leaders to engage in diplomacy and find peaceful solutions to disagreements. Promoting understanding. Citizens can help to promote understanding and reduce prejudice between the people of the United States and China. Peace is not inevitable. It requires constant effort and vigilance. By working together, we can create a more peaceful and prosperous future for all.